Google is now in the business of making chips. Let's talk about that in today's episode of Jaden and Laramie Talk Tech. My name's Laramie.
I'm Jaden.
And here we are. This is episode 18.
18.
And just like we said in the intro, chips, they're making their own chips.
Yeah. Which chips did you think we were talking about?
Yeah, that's the question. We
Yes,
should have gotten
It's both.
We should have gotten a bag of chips
I know.
and been sitting here eating chips.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Jaden, talk to us a little bit about it because you were the one that actually sent me the article earlier this week.
Google and their marketing campaign, I guess it's just their weirdness.
Yeah.
They're just kind of weird. They do weird stuff. They decided that they were going to make actual potato chips branded with like Google branding, and they're selling them, or not even selling them. They're just giving them away. If
Yeah.
you're on the first 10,000 people
to
sign up.
10,000.
Yeah, which they're probably very cheap to make for
I'm sure.
a marketing campaign.
Yeah.
But I don't even know what kind of chips they are.
I think they were just like original or something.
Yeah.
From what I saw. I liked the branding. The branding was nice.
Yeah, the bag,
Branding was cool.
like packaging design looked great. But yeah, they actually made chips.
Yeah.
And they are releasing them in Japan, which will be one of the biggest pixel markets.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
I think most of our listeners would know this, but Apple's not exactly the most popular phone brand in other markets in the world. But being a Goliath like Google, they do have a presence. But so that's just that's funny tech news. Like just
Yeah.
like, hey, you can go get some Google potato chips now. But we have a lot on the docket to talk about.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was the Apple event this week. We have some more information on the Tensor chip, and then some more information and actual looks at the Pixel 6, which is super sick. And it's gonna be a fun episode. So let's dive right in. I think let's just give the people what they want. Let's talk about the Apple event.
Apple event.
What'd you think overall?
So, unfortunately, I didn't get to watch the whole thing.
Okay.
I had a pretty busy week this last week, but I did a few supercuts, listened to some podcasts, and reactions and all of that. So I didn't get to watch like the cinematography aspect, which I like from the Apple events, but I've heard all of the news, looked into all the details of everything. I just didn't have a chance to watch the event though.
Yeah.
In its fullness. So
I did.
what did you think?
Production value is obviously on point.
I
Very
heard
good.
it. I heard it was really great.
It's
and
very
the
good.
drone, there was a lot of like drone transitions and
A
stuff.
lot of drone
so-
transitions, which I kind of wondered watching the drone transitions if they've just got the idea from that bowling alley video. Did you ever watch that? Where it was a drone that was like an advertisement for like a fun place, and it was like there was a bowling alley, a bar, like all this different stuff, but it's like
They flew a drone
professionally-
inside?
professionally driven or flown drone
Wow.
through the back of the building and it's all choreographed. It's really well done. You'll
That's
have to
pretty
see
cool.
it after, but I'm feeling like they might have taken ideas from that because it is a pretty popular clip. But the cinematography was amazing, and transitions were good. I think it's actually pretty interesting because this can kind of allude to what we're going to talk about more. So let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
There is one section that the transition was not good in,
Yeah.
and it was the transition into talking about the Apple Watch.
Really?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. They had like these seamless transitions,
Yeah, they always do
just
like the
perfect.
drop into the building and like zoom
Yeah,
out of the building.
super cool.
And, yeah.
Did that with every single one of the products,
Yeah.
every single one of them. But then when they swapped to talking about the Apple Watch, it was literally just a cut to now let's talk about the Apple Watch, and it was just So for those of you who don't know, there was actually quite a bit of stuff that was leaked that was wrong, just in general in this Apple event.
Yeah.
Like,
we
quite a
haven't
bit.
talked too much about the Apple leaks.
Yeah.
This year, mainly because they were kind of sparse and they came in weird phases too.
Yeah.
Like we didn't get a bunch of leaks at once.
Yeah.
And
And I'm not really.
it was a weird
firm-
year
Yeah.
for leaks.
And I'm
on
not
Apple.
a firm believer in leaks anyway. Like
Yeah.
it's just I
It's
don't
not confirmed until it's announced.
exactly.
Right?
I don't get super excited about leaks just because I'm like, well, why get excited about this and then it fall through? I say
For
this
this
all the time,
reason.
but yeah, I say this all the time, but expectation is the thief of joy. But it's like, so anyway, there were leaks about the Apple Watch that it was going to adopt the design language of the 12 and the iPad Pro before where it's a lot more angular, very modern looking, sharper looking.
It
And
was supposed to be kind of like the iPads, and
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, it's supposed to have a very angular look to it. It's supposed to have like a new chip in it too. Like it was supposed to be a complete reimagining of the watch. That's what all the leakers were saying. And then we get to the event, and it's the same case. Granted, the screen is larger, but it's the same case. It's very bubbly, it's very round, and it's actually running on the same chip from last year, so the Series 6, with basically like written on, like probably like scratched out 6 and put like 7 on there. It's very like very surprising. It's very surprising. And so what John Prosser
it
is
doesn't
saying,
have a new processor, right?
no, I think they're labeling it as a new processor for the 7 from what I understand, but it's not.
Okay. Yeah.
It's running the
because
6 series.
I thought
chip.
someone said that like nothing internally really changed on this.
No.
Yeah.
So what they're thinking, because a couple months back, it was said that the Apple Watch Series 7 was going to be pushed back because of, now John Prosser said catastrophic, but I didn't read anything about catastrophic. But they were having a hard time with quality control on the new Series 7, and that it was going to
The
get
new
pushed
screen and
it's
new
it's a whole
design.
new design language, so it would make sense that like it'd be hard to kind of fine tune it. So they're thinking that they just couldn't get it out in time.
So they had a fallback plan.
Yeah.
Of-
So they just rushed to
Yeah.
basically
We'll tweak the case a little bit. We'll put in the larger
bigger
screen.
Yeah. And that's it. And they weren't anticipating that. So rather than like reshooting the entire event, they just reshot just the Apple Watch segment, which is why it doesn't have
Which is why
any
they
of
cut?
it was, if you have to like go watch it, because it's a pretty
Yeah. I'll have to go
drastic
look
like
at it.
cut. Like it's just like, now let's talk about
It
the
was
Apple Watch.
inserted. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt inserted.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, that was disappointing for a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
because I've heard from a lot of people, like I have the Active Watch 2.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a watch. It's nice. And I've heard from a lot of people that they don't like the design language of the Apple Watch.
I've never liked the look of the Apple Watch.
Me neither. I don't.
Even when I was like working at Apple and had iPhones and like only used Apple products, I never liked the Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Because it looks like a calculator watch.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
It's
is kind of
square.
funny because those are coming into style again. But yeah, you're
Goofy
right.
90s trend.
Yeah. You're right. And so I've never liked it, but the squaring off, I told you I was a huge fan of the iPhone 12 adopting that whole aesthetic.
I think it looks
I think it
great.
looks
I don't like how it
better.
feels, but yeah.
I think it looks better than Series 6, or well, now Series 7 too. But it
See,
would look
having
better.
looked at the renders, I actually like the current look better
The 7
of the watch.
of the Series
yeah,
7.
the little bit more rounded look to me, mainly because I really don't like square watches. I don't think they look like watches.
It would catch on a lot of stuff too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't like square watches in general.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I
And
would
so
just-
that's even
spherical.
more square, just makes it
Yeah.
remind me of a calculator
Yeah.
watch even more. So
But I mean, it just goes to show that you can't bank on these leaks.
no.
No matter good of a track record they have.
Well, because there was John Prosser, Mark Gurman was the big one. I think he's from Bloomberg.
Yeah.
And he gets
He
almost
has like
all of
a
his leaks.
86%.
Yeah. He has
rating.
one of the highest track records for
Yeah.
leakers in the industry. And he was corroborating what John Prosser was saying
Yeah.
and saying that it was getting the new design, and that all got scrapped, apparently.
I thought
So-
John Prosser's video of him defending himself was hilarious to me. Just like, to me personally, I just thought it was hilarious because
I did watch it.
I thought
Or I listened to it.
I just thought it was funny because it like all of the leakers right now are like just deflecting. They're just like, oh, well, I heard it from this person, and so it's not really my fault. And it's like,
And they're like,
I mean,
well, so we don't have the same sources. There's no way that we have the same sources. So
Yeah.
like, there's so many ways that
yeah,
this could have gone wrong. And
Yeah.
I'm like, why don't you just admit that
yeah,
like
you just got a leak wrong, man.
you got a leak wrong because Apple changed it?
yeah, I think he's right.
I think they were right.
yeah, I think he's right.
Yeah, it was going to change its design,
Yeah,
and Apple scrapped that plan.
it's just funny to me. Like
Yeah, it's
I've
funny.
told you before, I think John Prosser is pretty funny, and I think just the whole leaking like world is just funny to me.
Oh, it's
Like,
its own universe.
It really
it's
is.
its own reality.
But it is funny seeing a bunch of leakers be like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm
you
not wrong.
talking
They
about?"
were wrong."
I got it from him.
Yeah, exactly. It's Apple's fault for not doing what I
Yeah.
leaked. So funny.
I think they should
Funny.
have just owned up to it and been like, I'm pretty confident I was right.
Yeah,
Apple changed their plans
Yeah.
last minute.
yeah.
So
Well, I mean, that's what because now it's a blemish on their track record because there
Yeah.
is that website that actually keeps track
track
of their
of all of them.
percentage and everything.
Mhm.
So it's a blemish. But whatever. I take everything that they say with a grain of salt anyway.
yeah.
And but anyway, back to the Apple event. So what was it called? What was the phone called?
13.
It was 13, which you said you thought it was gonna be 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think they should have called it the S though.
Yeah, well, I just don't like the number 13. But
Really? See, I'm not bugged by like the whole. It's not even feng shui that doesn't like 13.
No,
they don't
it's
like
just
4.
Friday the
but
13th, like just
Yeah.
the number 13. It's
I'm
just
not
bad
bugged
luck
by
or
it,
whatever.
but I don't know. I
I
think
just-
they should
yeah.
have called it the 12S because it truly was an
iterative.
S phone.
Yeah, it was an iterative update for sure.
Yeah.
So let's see. So the 13, it's just, I mean, it's the new A15 Bionic
Yep.
chip in it.
15 this time.
The 15, so super fast. The fastest phone we've ever made.
Did you notice that they didn't talk very much about the speed?
Not as much for sure. I thought in the
they-
in the pros they talked a little bit more about it.
Yeah, they didn't talk very much about the A15 speed this time,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to what they have in the past. They talked more about power efficiency.
Yeah.
So it seems like that's what their focus was this time around.
Battery optimization and everything like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Which is probably smart on their side. I mean, they
Yeah.
have the gap right now in performance,
Yeah.
which the A88's close
Yeah.
to the A14. The
It's just not as
898,
optimized. It
yeah,
can't be.
it's just not as optimized.
Yeah, it can't be.
Um,
What were we talking about? Like we were texting, I think during the event.
yeah.
And you said something, or I said something about performance, and then I was like, who really cares if it's like the fastest phone that they've ever
yeah.
made or whatever? Because it's just
Yeah.
like phones are so fast nowadays that it's just like
It doesn't matter.
the
Like,
average user is just never gonna.
You're never going
No.
to realize that performance.
Yeah. But aside from the processor, they brought the sensor shift to the 13.
To the 13.
Yeah.
So yeah, the same camera that they exclusively had on the 12 Pro Max last year on the main sensor is now the main sensor for every iPhone this year.
Which that must sting as a pro user from last year.
Yeah.
Because aside from having telephoto, that's all they have now.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's pretty
That's
sick.
it.
Yeah, that's pretty.
Well, I mean
rough.
the screen,
like,
but we'll get to
Oh,
the
yeah,
pro.
yeah, yeah,
We'll
yeah.
get to the pro.
well, no, I mean like from last year. If you bought the 12 Pro,
yeah, from last
then
year.
it's like, oh well, now
Yeah. I mean,
it's
my
the same
wife,
thing.
Leanna, she has the 12 Pro Max. So she basically has this year's cameras.
yeah, yay.
I don't think
That's
she's
Apple
upgrading
for
though,
ya.
because she's on the
No.
iPhone upgrade program where
Yeah.
you just do trade in the phone, get the new phone. You can keep it because it's not like leasing. You're actually like financing the phone.
Yeah,
And if you trade it in, then it pays itself off. If you don't trade it in and you just keep it for 2 years, you own the phone.
yeah.
And it also includes Apple Care, which is
So it's, I mean, it's similar but better than what carriers do.
yes.
Yeah,
And it's through Apple, so you're dealing with Apple for all of your stuff. You don't have to worry about carrier
yeah.
financing and all of that crap. What's cool too is it's also 0%. So
So
it
she's
doesn't
not
matter.
gonna upgrade.
She's not going to upgrade.
It's interesting because I feel like the Pro is the only one to.
She's done the 10X.
Okay.
Or what was it? 10S. Yeah.
Yeah.
10S, the 11 Pro, and the 12 Pro.
Oh, okay.
On that program.
Okay.
This is the first one that she's not.
She's just like,
yeah. I talked to her about it, and she's like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so if for those of you who don't know, I mean, well, so let's round off the 13.
And
Maybe
the
we
Mini.
already did.
There wasn't
anything
there
else?
wasn't much. I mean,
I think the screen's
a little brighter in HDR mode. That's this part that you have to get right. Is like they're saying this is 1200
new
nits.
colors though.
New colors. Always exciting.
New colors.
Always
there
exciting.
You go.
Yeah, new colors. They went from this to this. And a brighter screen while you're watching HDR video.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Thank you for joining the podcast. That's it. That's all the news we have on iPhone 13.
They kept the Mini.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
The Mini's still here.
Which I was a firm believer that they were going to keep it just because I feel like it's a gateway drug into Apple's ecosystem.
Yeah, it's also like it's the only phone in that segment right now.
Yeah.
Like there isn't an Android phone that's decent
small.
phone.
Yeah.
A good phone worth having that small.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because I had the 12 mini and I think it was too small.
But you loved it when
I
you
loved
had
it. But like now having the Pixel
the perfect
5,
size phone.
it's literally just a little bit bigger, but it's
all screen.
This is better.
Yeah.
And all screen.
Nearly.
So yeah, I guess that's it. iPhone 13, everybody.
That's the 13. A little bit better battery life.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's yet to be determined though, right? I mean, I'm sure it will happen.
I'm sure it'll be a little bit better because they did increase the capacities
of
the batteries, which
they never divulge how much the milliampage is anyway.
We went up 50 milliamps. Here you go.
There you go, guys. Let's trade in your phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that I think for the 13s, the Mini is going to get the biggest advantage from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because the Mini was the one that struggled the most on battery.
For sure. And it wasn't even awful. I was getting through a whole day easy.
Yeah.
Like not an issue. I would consider myself a power user. It was a nice phone. I do get jealous. We do have one friend that has it. And I do get a little jealous whenever I see it. But then I remember I do not like iOS.
It's too small.
It is pretty small too.
The keyboard's too small.
You're right. Yeah, it was cramped, and I have tiny hands.
I'm just trying to imagine using a phone that little again. I couldn't use the keyboard. That would drive me nuts.
I think you're right. Really, that's all there is.
That's really it for the 13.
13 Pro.
120
120 hertz. Finally, that's the biggest I think.
I think that's the biggest thing from the event.
But they spent so little time on it.
Yeah.
So little time.
Because what else do you have to say about it?
Yeah, it's faster, smoother.
It's a faster and smoother screen that has variable refresh rate.
If anyone knows anything and is worth their salt in the tech community, this was not like an announcement that's like, yeah, it was like more of a finally.
Finally, your $1,000 phone has the feature that $1,000 phones have had for 5 years.
Yeah. And now like $300 phones have.
Yeah.
I mean, like the Asus phones, I think they're clocking in at 144 hertz.
Yeah.
They're
like cheap gaming phones.
Yeah. So that
it is cool that it's variable refresh though.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's awesome. It's using did they confirm LTPO technology?
I don't know if
I'm
they
assuming
confirmed it. I didn't
is.
see.
I'm assuming it is because it's usually Samsung displays on iPhones, and Samsung kind of has the rights to that technology. But yeah, it goes all the way down to 10 hertz. Up to 120 hertz, and it will ramp in real time. Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Which I saw some. I saw some leaks. Again, take it with a grain of salt. That Pixel 6 will have something really similar.
The leak is that it has the same screen.
Really?
Like pretty much the same panel.
Well, those are great panels.
Yeah, it's an LTPO Samsung panel.
I'm down.
Yeah,
I think that'd be sick.
It would be super cool.
So that does the whole range get their new cinematic mode?
Yes.
Okay.
They did say that.
So that was probably the coolest thing. I think that was the only thing in the whole event that made me go, wow, was so they have a mode that actually does focus racking,
Yep.
which or rack focusing, that's it. Where it's basically you see it in cinematography all the time. It's like, you're
So
focusing on this person.
If Laramie's in frame,
Yeah,
like very close to the camera or my hand,
the hand.
and then it comes back to
Yeah.
me.
The focus is on the hand, and then rack focus would then just go to me because it's back to me. So
That's
we did
rack
that on the
focus.
video. Sorry, podcast listeners. But I mean, it's able to intelligently know who the center of attention is for that shot. And they had to they did a whole little whodunit movie using it. And it's really cool. It just seems.
Did
to
you think it
me-
looked good?
I thought it looked all right.
I did watch that because
Yeah.
I heard about it, and then I wanted to go watch the video, and I don't think it looked that good.
I thought it was all right.
It still looked very much like a phone
Yeah.
and like fake bokeh.
Oh, I guess
There
I did.
was like
there
halo,
was
there was
some
fringing
spots.
and haloing.
Like the guy sitting in the chair.
yeah,
I think
there was a bunch of haloing on it.
Yeah.
which was weird because like if it was a larger sensor, with like an actual camera, a DSLR camera or mirrorless full size sensor, you would not have that.
Yeah.
It would actually be shallow depth of field.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You
think
wouldn't have artifacts like
here's
that.
here's my thing on it. I don't think any professional videographers really is gonna go out and buy an iPhone 12 because of or 13 because of this. Yeah, it's like, oh, my dreams have been made true. It's like it's gonna be one of those gimmicks that once you have it, you'll like try it like a couple times and be like, wow, that's so cool. You'll never use it again.
I agree. I think because I listened to MKBHD's podcast on this event, I think he nailed it that it will be important, just like you say, for people that want to try it. But he also was pointing out that on the camera app, it's actually next to the video in the like main sliders where there's video, photo, portrait. There's cinematic next to video.
Yeah.
So they're actually making
It's
it
a whole
very
mode.
front and center
Yeah.
on the camera app, which kind of makes me think that a lot of people are going to try it.
Oh, I'm sure a lot of people use it.
Yeah.
The thing is it's like it's smart, but it kind of goes back to the ideology that I feel like Google does such a good job of. I don't want to have to press a button for that because I'm just not going to think about it. I'd rather it just like intelligently know that that's what would fit that situation.
Yeah.
Sort of like whenever I'm taking a photo, and it's obviously a portrait of my son,
You
a
just wish that
tile
it
will pick
was
up and it'll
portrait.
be like, hey, this should be a portrait photo. I just click that and then it takes me to portrait.
I wish it was even smarter than that and it just
Just did it.
either switched to that mode
Or took a...
or it didn't matter. Like the
Well, I
mode
guess it doesn't matter with pixels because you can go back to a photo
Yeah.
that doesn't... With portrait anyway.
Yeah, with portrait.
Yeah. But it's just like... It's just one more thing that I just think it would be cool, but I don't know if I'd use it. And I didn't like... I'm not in the camp of thinking that like that major directors that Christopher Nolan's going to start running
No.
around with an iPhone 13. It's like, oh yes, this
He
is
still
great.
shoots on film.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not a believer in that. I think, as phones progress with their image quality and everything like that, so does the rest of the imaging world. And so no videographer worth their salt is actually going to
Yeah.
they're not going to be like, oh wow, this would be perfect for rack focusing in this situation, and then they pull out their phone. They're going to be like, oh, let me just do it on my camera,
Yeah.
on my DSLR.
Oh,
that
yeah,
is,
let me just grab my
doing
camera.
it correctly.
Yeah.
So it's just like interesting. It's kind of one of those things is like, who's the demographic for this?
I think it is for still the young creatives that don't have a
Young
professional
whippersnappers.
camera,
Yeah.
or they don't want to buy a professional camera.
Well-
they just want to continue to use their phone and buy a new
Mm-hmm.
phone every year. And whatever that has, that's what their
Yeah.
best tool is going to have.
If they,
Those do exist.
so they do. So is it called Center Stage? Their program that like whenever they're using like FaceTime or
It'll
whatever,
center
it'll
you.
center you.
Mm-hmm.
So they brought that to more apps now. So I
Yeah.
think they even announced that TikTok can use it.
That's kind of cool.
If they did that if they enabled cinematic mode with different apps like that, I could see that taking off.
Yeah.
That could be an actual incentive because there's such a crowd of young people that are so obsessed with TikTok. That if they saw that there was something that would make your TikToks look so much more professional.
Yeah, you have a blur in the background.
Yeah, that would sell it. So I could see that happening for sure.
Yeah. I can tell this is definitely the first iteration of it though.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll get better.
Yeah.
It'll get better.
They definitely need to improve the algorithm for the portrait mode or
Yeah.
the blur.
Because there was even situations where the guy, like, in one spot, I'm sure you watched it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The guy bends down underneath the table to look at a sandwich, but the sandwich doesn't focus.
Yeah, it was hunting.
So
Yeah, that's
why
what
would they put that in there though?
multiple people were pointing out. Like normally in like Apple's examples, they are really, really good for photos, right? So they show off the absolute best situation you could possibly have for that phone, for that camera,
if that's the case.
for phones, right?
Uh-huh.
For portrait video or portrait photos, they've done it before. There's no way a normal person's going to get a portrait photo out of an iPhone in the examples that they've shown in previous years.
Yeah.
You never do.
Yeah.
So what they showed was the best situation for cinematic video, and it did not.
Well, because you know that they have key lighting.
Oh yeah,
and,
they were in a
everything like
studio
that. Yeah.
setup. They had probably
Yeah.
reflectors in the background,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff, and this was the best situation for that cinematic video.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that is
So,
unfortunate
To me, like, so I think of someone like our friend Cody, who is a film buff. He's massive film buff. He's also huge. Oh, he was on the podcast. Everyone should know him.
Yeah.
So he's a huge film buff. I could see him being excited about something like this. But then again, I know he would just grab a camera to do something like this.
Yeah, if he needed to do something professionally,
Yeah.
he's gonna grab a
Yeah, because
professional
he does
camera.
stuff like that all the time where he's filming something. And I think, oh, maybe you would be able to use it then. But it's like, well, no, I think the only time that someone would choose that over their camera is if they didn't have their camera with them. But then if you're doing something professional that you would want something like that,
You would grab
your
your
camera.
Yeah.
So it's an odd space. I think it's going to appeal to the younger demographic, like you mentioned. And that's it. I know that I would probably use it like once or twice. I'm not much of a video taker on my phone though.
What I'm waiting for to happen, I might even build this myself, is for phones to be able to be used as webcams.
Yeah.
I think that will be where this could be very beneficial, as if there was the cinematic mode while it's being used as a webcam.
Yeah.
Because you know how you do the fake blur in Zoom and Google Meet and stuff, and it really doesn't look that great.
Yeah.
Because it's doing like real-time machine learning to try to do that. Yeah, what if your phone just did that
Yeah.
built in?
Yeah.
It would look way better.
No, for sure. And I think it goes back to they start enabling it for different apps and stuff like that. I could see it being utilized a lot. So it's like it's a piece of technology that they might have developed to be like this cool niche like thing that'll end up just being consumed by the rest of their OS system wide to just be able to do that. Because like combine that with their center stage thing,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty cool.
I think the other thing to keep in mind is if this is the quote unquote portrait of video, we're going to take several iterations for this to actually get really good and useful.
Yeah.
Think about the first, because it was iPhone 7 was the first iPhone that had portrait photos. And they did not, compared to what we have now, it did not look good. Portrait photos from iPhones on iPhone 7, they just didn't look good. So that algorithm has gotten better over the years.
That kind of reminds me of, there was an article, which I don't typically read Phone Arena articles because they're not very good. Sorry, Phone Arena, but they're not very good. They were talking about astrophotography on iPhones, and I was like, what, did they announce that? I didn't see anything about that. And I clicked on it, and they admitted in like the intro that it was like, well, it was clickbait. Like, I was like, just to get you, and I'm like, come on. And then they started saying, But you don't really need astrophotography because you can do that on any like phone that's worth its salt and like with its sensor. And like they started showing images of it of like I think they were using a Mate 30, like a Huawei Mate 30, like which had
It has a great sensor.
3 years ago, I think. And showing like it's just like the comments are just like, dude, this just looks like a lit up tree, like with a like a dark background. What are you talking about? Astrophotography? Like you look at like Google's implementation of it,
and there's actual like stars in the back.
Stars in it.
Yeah.
And I think about that, I'm like, what it was astrophotography was introduced in Pixel 4.
Yeah.
We're only
4
technically
and 4
a
XL.
generation in right now. And astrophotography is really dang good.
I have a photo to prove it.
Yeah.
From my 4
remember
XL
seeing
that
that.
I had. And it's, I mean, I got lucky because I woke up like in the middle of the night. I was up in the mountains to take this photo to try it. And I got lucky, but I got a photo of the Milky Way.
Yeah.
And
It's crazy.
you can see the Milky Way. Yeah.
So that's first iteration. So it'd be really cool to see what.
Yeah.
You're right, because it's just going to get better. But then I also think astrophotography is basically what I'm talking about with cinematic mode.
Mm-hmm.
I tried it once or twice.
I only was really able to use it once.
I just haven't done it again because it's so situational.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that moment, now whenever I'm looking at the stars, I'm like, wow, that's so pretty. I just want to enjoy that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to reach out and get them.
Yeah, it is worth the shot.
Yeah, for sure.
If you are in a situation where you could try it. But the other side for Pixel is you have to keep it really still. That's a 4-minute long photo.
Tripod.
Yeah, so I prepared to take that photo.
Yeah.
I took my tripod with me. Most people would never do that.
You can't actually access it unless it's on a tripod.
Or you can set it up like against
Yeah.
a rock or something. But yeah, you have to be able to point it up at the sky and have it be completely still for 4 minutes.
Yeah.
Which means you need a tripod.
Yeah. And it'll, again, intelligently detect that it's on a tripod or it's sitting still and it's night. And it's pointed at the sky. And it'll have a little thing that astrophotography and you can click on it.
Yeah.
Google's just better at doing stuff that so that you don't have to think about it as much and just like providing you this stuff in front of you. But I digress. We're not talking about Google right now. We're talking about Apple. So
They still don't have astrophotography mode.
they still don't have astrophotography.
And they could. I mean, we're talking about like hardware and software here. Why doesn't Apple have astrophotography mode?
I just don't think that their machine learning is good enough.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that's
it's just
why.
not good enough.
Because it's software. It's a software feature.
Yeah. Because you have to think that it's like it has to account for star like tails, which is just like you're doing astrophotography. The stars are still moving. Well, the planet
It's
is
all
moving.
timing.
Yeah.
And the shutter and stuff. Yeah.
And so you'll see those streaks, kind of like what was that trendy thing that everyone did? Like
Long
with
exposure?
like with the light, like your camera phone and
Long exposure shots.
Yeah, and you'd write with it and stuff.
You'd leave the shutter open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so Google, to get away from having the star look like a streak rather than a pinpoint, is machine learning.
Yeah,
It's
they're
all
doing
machine learning.
compensation.
Yeah, exactly.
Real time. And it takes
So
a
I
while
just
to
don't think-
process that photo.
I just don't think Apple is capable of doing it right now with their machine learning.
With their current team. Yeah.
What else? The 13 Pro and Max. The refresh
Again,
rate,
bigger battery, refresh rate.
cinematic mode wasn't even dedicated to that.
One thing I thought was interesting was the photo styles. What did you think about that?
Oh, you're gonna have to remind me. Just the
So
jargon.
they're having like it's a option. They said this is coming later. It's not coming at launch, but you'll be able to select styles or looks of your camera, basically. So if you look at like Pixel, iPhone, Samsung, Huawei, all of these phones have similar hardware and honestly similar software algorithms too that they're doing for denoising and all of that. Really, at the end of the day, each of these have their own look that they individually have. And Pixel is known for being really contrasty and punchy. And then iPhone's known for being pretty natural looking, but also a lot brighter.
Samsung is oversaturated.
And Samsung's oversaturated and vibrant. Like the colors are just in your face. And each of those looks are unique to every company. And Apple, from what it sounds like, is giving you the ability to switch between those looks.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a way of tuning their algorithm.
Yeah.
Which The Verge, their podcast that they talked about it, is Nilay. He's actually said that every year he talks about the iPhones and the Pixels, he pisses Apple off because he always says the Pixel looks better.
Yeah.
Every single year, he's like, I'm sorry, but I just think Pixel phones take better looking photos than iPhones.
Science and stuff like that.
And it makes Apple mad every year. And he was saying, like, this seems like them saying, okay, just decide how you want it to look.
So I guess my thoughts on it is I wasn't too excited about it just because. So I used to run a photography business, and that's not me bragging. That was just me. I shot weddings and stuff. Yeah. I always shot in RAW because I want to do post-processing. Like I want to edit. I currently on my Pixel, I post-process all the photos that I post on social media. I have the Lightroom app. I pay lots of money for presets.
Do you shoot in RAW on your Pixel?
No, I just don't want to take up the space.
Yeah.
But like what I've done, I mean, I guess it's kind of, no, it's not the same. I have user presets that I have in Lightroom and I just apply those. And I know with my Pixel, it's going to look a certain way that I already like. So I guess I've taken into account that the Pixel looks like this. I want it to look like this. I have a preset for it. I don't know if I'd want, while I'm looking through the viewfinder, to see what my post-processing is going to look like.
Yeah. I don't know if they went into detail too of like at what point you would really see that. Yeah. I think it might be tweaking what it's taking.
Yeah.
Or it is post-processing, but not a filter.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's an algorithmic difference.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. I think, and I'm not trying to Google fanboy here. I think it's cooler what Google did like a couple months ago where they started to take into account different skin tones and changing their color science.
I think that's awesome.
I think that's something that I'm like, that's great. That's really cool. This is just like, it reminds me too much of, do you remember, it might have been the really old versions of Instagram where you could pick different filters.
When you're taking the photo. Yeah. Which you can still do that now with Instagram stories and stuff. Yes. But yeah, they were like very stark.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know it's not going to be to that degree, but it just reminds me too much of it. And
but iPhones, they currently have that. They have a filter when you're taking a photo.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's that
they have like portrait light. Yeah. They have like the black and white one and all of that. This one's different because it sounds like you're purposefully telling the algorithm to process the photo differently.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that.
I want to see it.
Yeah.
And they also didn't give a lot of details about this. Yeah. But I do think it's interesting that Apple is like saying, okay, if you don't like the way that we think photos should look, pick.
So they're releasing the grasp a little bit.
Yeah.
Because it's like, can you just let us pick like our own like...
look?
Yeah. Well, just more on the phone at a system level too.
Yeah.
Can I use a different messenger? Fine. You guys just do whatever you want. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
but
I don't think that'll happen.
I agree. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anyone really
uses it. Yeah.
Again, it's kind of one of those things that you almost, I'm sure you're going to have to delve into the settings to do that.
Yeah. I don't know.
We'll have to see.
It looks like it'll be interesting though.
Yeah, so. It'll be cool. I've always been happy with my Pixel photos.
Me too. So, I like the Pixel look better than anything else that I've taken.
If only Instagram didn't freaking compress.
Yeah.
All the stories.
But that's just Facebook's compression. It's terrible.
Because our buddy Alex, iPhone user.
Adamant
iPhone user. He told me once, he was like, hey, why do your feed posts look really good, but then your story posts look horrible? I'm like, because Instagram hates us.
Yeah.
That's it. I know it's optimization and everything like that, and they only have to think about one optimization for Apple, whereas Android, it's a bunch.
So coming from the software dev side, Instagram has access to an API for Pixel that takes the same exact HDR photo that your camera app does. And I don't think they use it.
So is Apple paying them to make?
I don't know.
You heard it here first, folks.
There is an HDR API though available on Pixels, where the software developer, when they pull up the camera app, they can take the same exact photo that the camera app takes, like the default camera app takes on a Pixel.
Maybe it'll be a new
I don't know
feature.
I don't know why more apps don't on Android, because it's very easy for them to implement.
They'll implement it into the new Instagram subscription service that they're gonna.
You gotta pay for nicer photos.
Yeah, something stupid like that.
Hopefully not.
But then the iPhone Mini got a refresh, which was, or no, sorry, the iPad Mini.
iPad Mini.
A refresh, which I thought was really cool.
I think it looks sweet.
Yeah, me too.
It reminds me of a foldable.
Yeah, totally. I can see that. It's the one thing that I'm like I would consider having that, just because their FaceTiming and stuff like that is way.
I would really like this for just sitting on the couch, browsing the web, and reading. Yeah. Which is exactly what I would like a foldable for.
Yeah. But
so
I thought that was cool. It's fast. I'm getting so it's funny because like I talked about it in the last episode that the only thing I'm a little disappointed with on the Pixel 5 is the GPU. Is throttles a little bit, but in the same coin, I'm like, who cares about speed? Because it's just like everything's so fast anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's
faster. You're coming from 765G though. It's not a crazy processor.
Yeah, it's not.
It's decent.
I think I don't know if we said this in the episode or if we had just talked about it after we filmed, but you asked me if I thought I was going to get the 6 or if I was going to wait for the Fold.
Yeah, we talked about it a little bit.
On the episode or afterwards?
On the episode.
I think I'm just going to get the 6. I think
not the Pro?
The Pro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the 6 Pro. I'm not going to wait for the Fold. The Pixel Fold. Oh, I'm going with the 6 Pro. So
I really think I'm going to get the Pro too, but the Fold, if they show it in the event, I'm going to be much more inclined to wait for it.
I don't think they will. I still don't think they will. I think I'm going to get the 6 Pro. I think it looks sick. So, for those of you who don't know, Google has a brick and mortar store in New York,
which we've talked about.
Yes, we have talked about it.
Yep.
And they now have a window ad of the Pixel 6 and Pixel 6 Pro with the actual device in there. And I just now seeing it in like real life photos, it looks like a sick phone.
It looks super cool. Super good.
Super cool.
I mean, like the minimalist aesthetic of it, I didn't quite grasp until you start seeing real photos of the real phone. Because I feel like in the renders, it made it feel more Galaxy-esque to me, if that makes sense. Like more metallic and harsh. But when you start to see this like frosted glass in like the real photos of the real phone, it looks so good.
It looks premium. 100%. Looks really premium. I got really curious. Is the Pixel 6 Pro going to be rounded glass on the front?
Yeah. Oh. I don't think as rounded as that, which we're not sharing our screen yet, but
yeah.
I don't think as rounded as the original renders, but it will be a little bit rounded.
Yeah. We're not getting a ton of like looks at the front yet of the phone.
Pixel 6 Pro NYC
photos. Oh, there's one?
Like a search.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
See if we can get some
of the actual.
Yeah. There we go.
Man.
It looks really, really good.
It looks really good. It looks more orange than I thought. Or is this this is their orange one. That's right. That's
the actual orange one. And then the 6 Pro has a little bit taller top section. And it's like a champagne gold.
Looks so good.
That looks so
That looks
good.
so good with a leather case and then the gold accents.
The other thing to keep in mind is that they designed this in a way where cases actually could be nearly flush.
Oh, for sure.
So the phone won't rock.
That's the very first thing I thought whenever I saw this. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, a case is gonna completely cover that
Which
up.
I'm not going to have a case on this thing.
Are you sure? After you broke the screen on
I'm
your,
just going to cover it with warranty, with the
All right,
extended
man.
warranty.
You do you know. But yeah, I mean, cases are starting to pop up. People are getting their hands on the cases and stuff like that. Here's
The
a better
silver
look at it
looks
right here.
sweet.
The silver looks really good.
I honestly think the best looking one might be the silver.
Yeah, it
But I
looks
know that
clean.
I'll end up with the black
I
one.
don't know, man. Maybe this will be the day that you change.
Nah,
To-
the black looks really good too.
Does look good.
This
This looks sick.
the dual tone just looks great
Which-
on all of them.
Just like with what's it called? Material U.
It matches.
We talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
It just the phone just looks great. Android 12 beta is smooth as butter for me now.
Same.
It's so good. Just like seeing all the apps starting to take on that design language too has been super fun to see.
Yeah.
And it just makes the whole phone such a cohesive experience for the user.
It's made the software mix with the hardware, I feel, especially with the 6 Pro coming out that's going to match all of this. I feel like it's a better example than Apple's hardware matching their software.
Mm-hmm.
This is Google saying, we made something where the hardware matches our software.
Yeah. Yeah.
Top to bottom.
It totally feels that way. And it's so weird because they talked about this in their, I think in I.O. Was it I.O.?
Mm-hmm. When they announced Material U.
It feels so personal to me now. The phone.
Yeah. If I change the wallpaper, the apps change, which is so weird.
Which I guess,
and cool.
if you're iPhone users, Material U, so it's going to be on Android 12, which is coming out next month.
Sounds like early October.
Yeah. What it does is it basically just picks your background, or it sees your background on your phone, and then let's see if we can actually just do this. Oh, my key light's probably gonna. Oh yeah, there you go. And so all of my icons and everything are matched to the background,
That bluish tone.
that bluish tone
In the
of my
sky.
phone. And then we'll see. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I mean, this is still beta software, but basically, if I switch, so I use this app. This will be my little shameless plug. I use this app that is called Wally, and I paid $1.50, I think, for it. But it's a bunch of artists, and they do wallpaper for the phone, and you can make a playlist if you have the premium version. So I have a playlist. So then I changed my wallpaper. It changes my wallpaper every 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see what
Like if you do something with a
happens.
different color.
Yeah. Let's try. Oh wait, I'm doing the wrong thing. But so it'll basically go. Oh wait, no, we're not gonna do this right now, I guess. But oh, maybe no. Wait, that's the same color.
I mean, you can kind of see with mine. So
Yeah, you show them yours.
with my cracked screen. I don't think you'll actually see the crack very much, but so that's a picture of the Coliseum I took. And then if you go all the way to the menu,
Yeah,
then you can kind of see that
tiles are
matches-
different.
Yeah, the tan tone
Mhm.
in my wallpaper.
tan
And
tone.
It does it in your apps too. So like if I go to Google Drive,
Oh, there we go. Yeah, so I changed my wallpaper to this one.
sorry podcast listeners. you're gonna
Yeah,
have to
sorry.
just watch
You
the
just
video.
need to just subscribe to our YouTube. Look,
Yeah, so
now
everything
all the
changed.
colors are like beigey because of the beige that's in the, and it always picks the best accent colors.
Yes.
to me.
And by default, and if you don't quite like what it picked out and you see some other colors, you can actually go to your wallpaper settings and they give you 3 to 4 different options of other colors that it's seeing,
Yeah,
like different tones,
Mm-hmm.
and you can pick out of those 3 or 4.
yeah,
So if you're seeing slightly different colors than maybe the most dominant color in the wallpaper, it also sees that.
yeah.
So you could go and pull out those.
Just another
colors.
situation where you see Google's machine learning and everything
Yeah.
really just
They
on full
said that
display.
they spent a long time on this.
You can tell.
Yeah.
It feels good. And it's the little things that make you feel so connected to your phone, because now when, like, I'll remember that my phone was certain colors, and then in 4 hours I'll look at my phone again and the wallpaper had changed, and then so the whole theme of my phone changes with it. And now it's leaking into Gmail. It's dropping into like Drive and stuff
Google
like
Drive,
that.
Google Docs,
So then
Google Photos.
the whole aesthetic of those apps is changing along with the entire. So it just all feels
like your phone.
like one unit. Yeah,
it feels
it's
like
so
your
cool.
phone.
Yeah,
And
it
that's
does.
what they've said. That's why they're
Yeah.
calling it Material You, is because it is now matching whatever you tell it. I want this wallpaper. It's like, oh, okay. So I'll just make all the other apps feel like this wallpaper you just gave me.
Yeah,
It feels like yours. It's your phone.
It's really cool, guys. If you have Pixel phones, which I think quite a bit of our audience does at this point,
Yeah.
I'd say Android 12 is basically there if you wanted to try it out on beta just to give it a shot and see what it is. I mean, I have Android 12 beta on my daily driver, and I feel fine.
Yeah,
Don't
I do
really get
too.
hiccups.
If you don't want to do the beta though, really you're not going to be waiting much
Yeah.
longer. It's looking like only a couple more weeks. So
Yeah, it's really, really cool. I'm just getting more and more jazzed for this Pixel 6, man. You had texted me that with how lackluster the Apple event was, this really sets up Google to this could be their year.
yes, with this, especially all of the advertising that they're doing.
Yeah.
So they have billboards going up in San Francisco, in New York, like kind of all over in the major cities. We're seeing really big billboards that are not cheap,
Yeah.
are huge. Just Pixel 6, Pixel 6 Pro advertisements. The phone's not even announced yet,
Yeah.
and they're advertising like crazy. Because
Yeah.
I think they're really targeting anyone that's on the fence, that's on, maybe they were planning on buying the new iPhones, or maybe they were already Pixel users and they're thinking maybe I should go back to an iPhone.
Yeah.
They're telling all of those people the 6 is right around the corner. Just hang on.
Yeah. My son's screaming in the background. Sorry if you can hear that. He's not being beaten. He's having fun.
Yeah, it's exciting.
But yeah, I think
excited.
it's super. I think you're right. I think it's targeting those people, and I think if they continue to really put front and center that this phone just feels like you, because I mean, like, come on, let's be honest. Like, we live in such a culture that's so self-centric that being able to be like, yeah, your phone will feel like personal to you.
Yeah.
might be a pretty big seller to a lot of folks.
A lot of people like to customize their stuff too.
Yeah.
More and more.
Well, and the funny thing is too is that it kind of fits for both demographics, because like I know people that are like, oh, I don't care to do any customization on my phone. It takes too much time, or I just like I don't want to dig through the settings. You don't have to. It literally will just pick it for
Set
you.
the wallpaper.
Yeah. And then for people like me that just like need something fresh all the time, it does it for me. It goes back to the whole thing that we talked about earlier. I just want things to be done for me. Like, I don't want to have to. Before, I would be the guy that download the icon packs and like root my phone and try different launchers and stuff like that, so I can make it.
Have you tried the black and white or just like the single tone icons yet?
Mm-mm.
You should turn it on. If you go to the wallpaper settings in Android 12, scroll down, there's an option for themed icons.
And what's it supposed to do?
It might take a second, but it should change the home icons.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, like what we've seen in the things. I didn't see
It works
that.
on my phone. I don't know why it's taking a second.
Maybe. Ooh, that's
Not
actually,
every it's gonna do it.
Okay.
So not every icon supports it quite yet, but they have. So I turned this on right when they had the option available just to see it, and it was only a few icons, and then I turned it on just recently, and it was almost all of my icons were supported. So
Ooh.
they're ramping it up pretty quickly.
I think you broke my
I might have
phone.
broken your phone.
Broke my phone. Maybe don't
It
download
is
the
beta.
beta. No, this is the first time that I've had something like that happen. But it just goes to show.
Yeah.
Seriously, Google's doing a killer job. I'm excited for it.
They're advertising like crazy.
Yeah.
If
Could be the year.
if you're on the fence, maybe wait.
I think
See
you
what
should
the
wait.
Pixel 6.
Don't get the iPhone 13. Do yourselves a favor and just at least like just wait.
Just wait.
Because it just, you're not missing out on anything.
Yeah. Google hasn't been this confident about a Pixel ever.
Yeah.
They've been confident about some Pixels. I feel like the Pixel 2, they were pretty confident about. They're like, okay, we're starting to hit our stride here. The 3 was pretty big, but they blew it on the 3XL and they knew it. This one, they're like very confident in what they have behind closed doors. Well, kind of out in the open, but they have some secrets up their sleeve, I feel like. There you go.
Cool. I'll show you. Just look at my homepage here.
Tilt it a little. Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
you can
so
see all the icons. My homepage icons are now matched to that theme.
Matched to the theme color.
And then you can see my son in my security system right there. Anyway, I'm just super excited about everything that they're doing. The Apple event was iPad mini was cool.
There's supposed to be some MacBooks around the corner, which seems like
Which is
that
another
will be the big Apple thing the end of this year.
Yeah.
So
anything else, Jaden?
I don't think so. There's some rumors swirling around Google's Tensor chip and what's actually inside of it. We don't have to go quite that geeky.
Okay.
But it's kind of weird if these rumors are true of what's inside of that chip. It's a weird mixture
of like a real like alien embryo or something? Like what are we talking about here?
So it's an ARM chip, right? And it's designed by Google. They kind of picked the components that they wanted. Yeah. And every other chip, including Exynos, Qualcomm, they have one X1 chip, which is like the beefy, that's the power horse chip. Because there's a lot of like small chips inside of these processors. There's multiple chips. And one of them is the X1. On the Tensor, there's two X1s. And this is like a power-hungry but very, very powerful core.
Yeah. And they have two.
They have two on the Tensor. And no other brand has done two for a reason, because it sucks a lot of power.
Yeah. I'm a little nervous now.
But they decided instead they did 4, because they do this big little architecture. They decided that they were going to do 4 slower, highly efficient cores. And these cores are older. They're like 2018.
Huh.
When there's newer cores available that they could have picked that were a little bit faster and a little bit more efficient. But other brands normally do like a mixture of older cores and some of the newer cores. They're doing 4 of the older cores that are efficient, but they could have done something newer.
Yeah.
Which is also weird.
Huh.
It's just this, and there's a Verge article. I'll probably put it in the notes. You should read it. They like go in depth about, this is a weird chip just all around for the decisions that they've made.
I mean,
but I think they're onto something.
It's make or break for me just on the chip. Just on the chip.
Yeah.
Even if I know the camera's gonna be better, but I'm not even as excited about that. I like as long as the chip is good.
Yeah. The theory with the 2 X1 cores is that they just brute forced the chip to be able to beat Apple's numbers in a benchmark if they wanted to.
I mean,
I would love that though. I would love
funny
if they made it so this chip for a brief moment can be faster than any other processor.
It's like cheesing the system.
Yeah.
Basically.
But then it doesn't have to use those 2 power hungry cores if it doesn't need to. It can fall back on the more efficient cores and use less battery.
Because I want to keep my good battery life.
And I think you will. Based off of what's inside of this thing, it'll be extremely efficient and slower on like browsing the web, looking through social media. But then if you're gaming, it flips on those 2 cores and it's ready to go.
All right, which guitar am I selling?
So I'm excited to see them talk about this chip, because it seems like they have put a lot of thought into it. They're not doing what others have done.
Yeah.
So
we're really close, guys. It's like a month out to being able to see it.
According to John Prosser's rumors, it's almost exactly a month out.
I think, wasn't it the 17th? I thought it was
17th or 18th.
Yeah, something like that. So I'll be excited for that, man. I'm gonna be so excited for that. But
Yeah.
aside from that, I think we basically covered it all.
Yeah.
We just recorded last week, and now we're so yeah, they're getting right. Or was that 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago.
Dad brain. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any sort of suggestions for what topics you'd like covered, make sure to let us know. Leave it in the comments, send us a DM, something like that. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you're notified whenever we go, when one of these videos go up, which is every other Monday right now. And
if we get more events, we might do every week.
Yeah.
So
yeah, depends on how much you guys are tuning in, liking, and spreading it to all your friends. We always appreciate it. But until next time, we'll see you then.
Peace.